Hi, good morning. How are you? Just kidding. All right, anyway, hi guys. Be sure to click subscribe. Hey guys. No, I'm just kidding. All right, anyway, so back to reality. So Zoom, we're all using it, okay? So I'm going to let's see, I'll do this, okay? I'm going to share the images that I was talking to you about, and we'll just go from there, okay? I had a lot of things set up, but I'm not sure if as a sub-host or whatever I am now, they will work, so I don't want to get caught up with that. Normally in your own classrooms, you're not going to be handed off as host, you'll be the host the whole time, so it's going to work like this. That said, when the district does get our Zoom license, they're going to have us use their account or whatever. So there may be some things that are different than what I'm about to show you, okay? No guarantee because I don't know what's going to happen after that, okay? So maybe, for example, some of the options that I'm going to talk about, maybe they're pre-selected or not available. I don't know. But I'm going to show you just what I've been using in with Zoom. I had a successful summer class, and then even before summer, I was using Zoom with an enrichment program I teach on the weekends. So I started with them actually utilizing Zoom and was very anti doing it, and now I get it, and I've been pretty successful with it thus far. Okay. All right, so if you can see what I've got on screen, I hope you can. Thumb up, anybody? Am I fine? Thumbs up is a real easy way to check. Can somebody give me a thumbs up? You can see something that looks like Canvas announcements, yeah? Okay, great. All right, so here's Canvas. If you're asking random questions about books, all right, I'm just gonna kind of ignore that. All right, cool. So to let people know that you have a link to Zoom at all, I recommend you put it in your Canvas announcements. Canvas announcements are a really easy way to interact and get in touch with all of your students. You can do weekly announcements, you can do daily announcements, you can do announcements by course, whatever you want. When you do create an announcement, it does allow you to select which students are going to be receiving that announcement. But this isn't about Canvas. Either way, I highly recommend that you put your announcement, your link to your Zoom in your announcements, okay? So here's a list of announcements from Canvas, and then here you can see an actual announcement open. It's got a little video of me pretending to teach, and then some information about the direct instruction session. Now this information is from summer where we had 2 direct instruction sessions. We met with students for 3 hours total every day, so I know you can do this, okay? You'll see there in the middle of the screen in blue, that's a link to direct instruction number 1 and then direct instruction number 2. You'll also see that there's a meeting ID and a password, okay? I recommend you use different links, unless the district does something different. I recommend you use different links so that people don't accidentally enter the wrong classroom. Very simple, right? The link is like the room door with the correct key, okay? You don't want to give the same link to everybody. I think that'll be a real problem, okay? So I recommend different links. In fact, if you notice here, this was one class, but since we had 2 different direct instruction meeting times, I wanted them to use 2 different links, okay? Now, I'll show you in a minute how to copy and paste all that information. Also in your announcements, you probably want to put the little graphic that's been provided. It's slightly different now, but it's the SDHS virtual meeting expectations.
Really hard to see. Okay.
Sorry?
Yeah,
What?
You muted yourself, Rue.
No, I'm having a hard time. Dominic, I'm having a hard time seeing this. Will this be the size the kids will have? Because they're on a Chromebook.
No, Robert.
Do you have trouble having kids? Go ahead.
Yeah, Robert, what you're looking at is a screenshot on my computer. So maybe it's a little bit smaller than what you'll actually see, what they'll actually see. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and the second question though is also, do we have to put in an announcement every time we're going into Zoom, or can I have one single Zoom link for every one of my sections, and therefore I just start the day with that rather than sending an announcement every time?
I recommend you send an announcement because the announcement goes directly to their email, and
Every day?
depending on what device they're connecting from, they'll have the link in every announcement. It's an easy thing to just copy and paste every time you produce an announcement if you plan on meeting with them in Zoom, which we all do.
All right, thank you.
Sure. Okay, so if you are trying to join your own meeting accidentally, you'll get a screen like this, which maybe you've seen before, where it says, please wait for the host to start this meeting. You're the host, so it's gonna look more like this. You'll open Zoom meetings, and then you're going to have something like this. Now, this is assuming you have not set up any recurring meetings yet. Why would you want to do that? Okay, it will send information, it will send notifications, it'll send reminders, and it's an easy way to, again, keep all these links separate in your mind and in digital reality. Okay, so the first thing you'll see if you're not actually in a meeting is a screen like this, which hopefully you've all seen. You can see it says on the left side, profile, meetings, webinars, recordings, and settings. Profile, meetings, and settings are the most important ones that I'll talk about, of course. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do for every one of your classes or sections, depending on how you're grouping them. For example, in Aries, they have split our classes, our courses into two sections. So you can easily send them the same link, and then they'll be together, and you'll have no problem with that. So here you go. You're going to schedule a new meeting. The next thing you'll do, the very next page, you'll be able to title it. In this case, it's called Advanced Calligraphy. It's a very exciting class. There is a class description. There is dates and times that you can set. These are arbitrary. I did not look at the actual schedule. So you've got the duration, you've got the time zone, which is already set for us, and then that is a recurring meeting. Okay, the recurring meeting, you click that button, and then you'll be able to choose the recurrence. Notice in bold there, it says every week on Monday, Thursday, until December 18th, 2020, 35 occurrences, okay? Now that'll change every time you adjust the settings underneath where that is clicked. In other words, if you're not sure you're really getting the right parameters checked, it'll show you right there that you have. Maybe it'll say every month on Monday, Thursday, until something, and you'll say, that's not what I want. You'll be able to fix that. You can edit these, you can change them at any time. Okay. Next, and when you are creating a meeting, there'll be a passcode. Passcodes in waiting rooms are now automatic requirements for Zoom. So you'll have those. Notice it is a clickable thing, which means you can undo it, but I'm pretty sure they're going to make that not possible soon because it is for security. Okay. Also there, you'll see video. I like to start with my video off because I don't want to get caught by surprise. Participants, however, I like to put theirs on. So they have to turn it off if that's going to be the case. Okay. Also, under meeting options, you see there, mute participants upon entry. I love to do that because maybe you've already started class and they join, the mic's on, and all of a sudden you've got disturbances or feedback, whatever. Okay. Other thing on there on audio in the middle, it's always pre-selected both, and that's important because I did have some students who, for whatever reason, had to join us audio only from a phone. So you want to make sure that that's checked. And it usually is, it's the default. Okay. All right. So once you've created a meeting, you'll see a new screen that looks like this. You'll be able to add your meeting directly to your own calendar. You can see there's various types that are available for you. It shows, again, all the information about your class. Okay. Also, the waiting room, like I said, is already automatically enabled, and you definitely want to keep that enabled. It's good. You will hear a little beep when they are there. Okay. All right. Next, to get the link that we've been talking about, the all-important link. How do they find you on Zoom? I know it sounds weird, but magically, they just started popping in on that first day of school. Why? Because they got an announcement through Canvas that had the link. Don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. They have to use Canvas. They have to use Zoom. Remember that. Those are the two things they have to use. All the additional applications, etc., are just more for them to juggle. Now, all of us, we need to use certain things, but those are the two they have to use. So just remember how important that is when all their other teachers are using the same setup. Okay. Now, to get that link, you are going to, you can highlight it right there. This is the invite link. You can highlight it and then copy it, Control-C, paste it into your actual announcement. There are other ways to do it. For example, it can generate a invitation for you. And this is what it looks like. It's not that attractive. Mr. Black is inviting you to a scheduled Zoom meeting, and then there's a bunch, every single recurring meeting that you put in shows up. Again, this is the automatic meeting invitation. Here's more. I've scrolled down. That's the second part of it. All kinds of phone numbers and complicated stuff that kids aren't going to read. I recommend you either copy the link, paste it into your announcement with your own words, explaining what this thing is, or copy this whole thing and then get rid of the stuff that doesn't make any sense, okay? You want to leave in the live link That's the one where you just click on it, it'll take you there. And you want to leave in the meeting ID and the password for sure. Okay. The other stuff may be less important. If you take those things out, you don't have a working link. Okay. All right. So again, that's from clicking copy invitation, which is down on the, or it's just on the bottom, it's just on the right. Okay. Next, creating a poll. Okay. Now I didn't set one up automatically during this meeting because again, I didn't know if sharing host was going to mess it up. But doing a poll is a fun way to keep your students engaged immediately, even when you're not doing anything, like for example, when they're in the waiting room. Okay. Since it took like 10 minutes for everybody to actually get situated and ready to learn, the waiting room is super important for that. Now, once they're in the waiting room, they can take a poll while they're waiting, or once they get in, they can still continue to take that poll. What is a poll? It's anything you want it to be about, okay? It's a great way to learn who your students are, what they like. It's a great way to just find out what they're interested in about your subject this year or whatever, okay? So here you go. You're going to, it's down at the bottom, it says, you have not created any polls yet. So you click create a poll, and then you get something like this. Here I'm creating a poll on calligraphy. You can have multiple questions too. You can have single choice answers, multiple choice, whatever. Question, what do you think is the best thing about calligraphy? It's so fancy. You feel like a boss using it. You like to write like vampires, and it's better than needlepoint or whatever, okay? So those are your choices, and then you click save, and now you've got a poll. You can have a bunch of them ready to use at any time in any of your other classes as well. So you've got that, and that particular poll has one question, okay? And to use the poll, it'll be during your actual meeting, okay? Now, if you haven't started your video, this is the screen that you'll be looking at. It shows your meeting title, who you are, your password, and the invite link. And again, notice it's got that little bit there, copy link. For whatever reasons, people fall in and out of these meetings, as you know, and it's really good to have that link information available, whether it means you have to text it to somebody or whatever. Just have it available, know what it is, okay? Now, before you start video, there you go, and then you can see the poll. You click on the tab at the button on the bottom for poll, launch polling, and then it looks like this. It's a little more attractive when they see it. You see the little radio buttons they can click for their choices. But don't start your meeting just yet. Check video settings. So over there by my video icon, you see it, it's crossed out. That's because I have not started video in this presentation, whatever. And we go to video settings. So here's what you'll see when you go to video settings. There's general, video, audio, and a whole bunch of other stuff, okay? You can get a preview of your screen, which I highly recommend you do. Some of you guys, I'm looking up your nose or I'm seeing just the top of your head. Remember, the students are gonna see you that way too. Now, usually when we're standing in the classroom, they get to pick and choose what part of us they look at. I know, scary. But now you're really telling them exactly what you want to see. So make sure that it looks good. I'm not talking about your face, I'm talking about your composition. Where are you in the frame? Are you like this? Hey guys, how you doing? Or is it more like this, up your nose, or worse? Who knows? Either way, try to check your screen before you get online. This is all they have to go on. Remember, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Okay, so there's your screen, and you got your video options. Enable HD if your computer has that. You can click it. Things are just a little bit sharper. Mirror my video. That is really just for you because when you are on, it's already flipped for them. So if you look in your camera, you're like, damn it, my words are backwards. It's probably just fine for them. Either way, you can play with that button, mirror my video, to see if there's any difference. Okay. Down at the bottom of that, you see meetings. Always display participant names on their video. Yeah, these are defaults. Turn off my video when joining meeting. Yeah, I like that one. Always show video preview dialogue when joining a video meeting. That's that thing that just reminds you, are you still looking good? You want to check audio, that kind of thing. Okay. All right. I know I'm going fast, but I don't have a lot of time. Take a screenshot of something you have a question about for sure, or make a note. I'm going so fast, I'm sort of glancing at the chat, but it's looked like people are talking to each other, so that's perfect. Okay, in video settings again, you can see also, you can check, enable your different cameras, okay? So for example, you've got where did it go? Oh, spotlight my video when I speak. That's another one you want to have clicked. It's also a default, okay? But that's just so that when you're talking, it goes back to you, okay? All right, there's more stuff about video, and I'll get to that in a second. Audio options, you usually don't have to mess with these too much, but if people keep saying you're not really loud or something, this is like one of the last places to check, honestly, but there it is. You've got some options at the bottom. Automatically join audio by computer when joining a meeting, sure. Press and hold space if you have yourself muted, and other stuff about a headset. I don't use that. Share screen options. Now there's more stuff about share screen that I'll get to in a second, but these are just the most generic basic setting options that you have there. Enter full screen when a participant shares, scale to fit, and silence system notifications when sharing desktop. That's an important one because I hope you didn't just hear a beep or something when from my computer. Maybe you did. Sometimes it doesn't even work. But silence system notifications when sharing is a good thing because you can be getting things, reminders about sales and whatnot, and it's a little distracting, but whatever. So is doing homework from home. All right, next, virtual background. Everybody wants to learn how to do virtual background. It's right there. It's got its own tab. Find a cool picture from one of your vacations, like Stonehenge or whatever, and now you've got that behind you. Maybe your room is a mess, whatever the case may be, you can use virtual background. It'll also take any kind of image you want to throw up there, even if maybe you've got a picture of information, and maybe you kind of situate yourself on the side and you want that stuff to be like right here the whole time you're talking. You can do that, no problem. Leave it up the whole time. The longer it's up, the better it is for all types of learners, right? We got to remember that we know direct instruction sure ain't the only way, right? They're going to have to go on Canvas. They're going to have to read instructions. We're going to have to account for all the different learning modalities that are there, okay? And one of them is definitely thinking about how it's written, what it looks like, and being able to repeat things. So like demonstration video instead of live, perhaps, okay? Recording, you do have the option to record. And as you can see, there's a bunch of choices there. It'll ask you where you want to save your recordings. They do take up a lot of room, so make sure that you've got space on your computer. You don't have to save them all. You can watch them, you can crop them, edit them rather, to just the parts you really care about, okay? All right, one more thing before we get into the meeting, let's say, you do have another way to find your information about your meeting. You can see that it's up in the upper left, that little I information in a circle. It's got your meeting ID, your password, and the invite link once again. Okay, so now you're ready to start your video. One more thing before you do, you want to make sure that you have the right name. Oh, wait, yeah. So notice in the upper right there, participants, Mr. Black. Maybe because other people use your computer, it says something else. Sometimes my wife's name comes up. Rename. It's really easy, no problem, so they know who you are. Okay. Now, a couple of other things. When you are on security, the security options, these things you want to double check. These are the defaults. Allow participants to chat, rename themselves, unmute themselves, share screen. You can uncheck all that. You can check all of it. It's totally up to you. Right now, I have it so they don't share screen, but in Yearbook or whatever, I may need to have them share screen, so that might be useful. Definitely let them rename themselves because sometimes you'll get some weird code name, and definitely allow them to unmute themselves unless they have a problem with that. Maybe younger grades, they don't get it, whatever, okay? All right, so back to some video options. Some of you may have a second camera. Maybe it's a small HD camera. I got one provided by the district for summer school, so I was able to do different kinds of demonstrations. If that is the case, if you have two cameras, you can see that there's a drop-down menu, HD webcam and then HD web camera. You can see it's a slightly different view because that camera is over to my left, and it has a different view. I would use that for close-ups and demonstrations, things I really want the kids to see up close, okay? So I'll show you how you can do that, all right? Next, you just want to give silent comments. There's that reactions tab down at the bottom, and there's a clapping hand or a thumbs up. It's an easy way. Maybe people are giving presentations, you don't want to interrupt with chat. You can just give them a clapping or a thumbs up, okay? Also, above the participants, above Zoom group chat and below the participants list, you'll also see something that says mute all. That's another opportunity or place where you can mute everyone, okay? All right. Now we've got share screen options, okay? So next you're gonna have the ability to share a screen, okay? And that's going to have the, whoops, there it is, the share screen tab at the bottom, okay? Click on that, and then you're gonna see this, and I'm pretty sure everyone has seen this. I'm just gonna go through everything, okay? It's there. You see your screen, that's the live one, and then you've got a bunch of other options or choices. First one, the screen that you're gonna probably share on day one is what the heck Canvas looks like. You've already probably been there, looked at it, got scared and ran away, showed up to your Zoom link meeting hoping you're gonna make some sense of it. And you will, it's no problem, okay? So you would share screen, that first one, you have the Canvas already open on a tab, and then boom, now they're looking at Canvas just the way you want them to. You don't have to have it in student view necessarily, but either way, there it is, Canvas, they can look at it. Now, other things you can do with sharing screen, a whiteboard. Let's say you're the kind of teacher that just needs to write some things down sometimes. Maybe you got to do a graph, right? This is what a Venn diagram looks like, or whatever. You can do that with whiteboard, okay? If you have an iPhone or any kind of tablet, it says iPhone, iPad, but most tablets should connect. I did connect during summer with an iPhone, iPad, and to be honest, it was a little bit hit or miss. It's an older tablet, so I was able to use it sometimes. If you've got a newer one, I bet you'll have no problems. And it's so fun and easy to draw right along with the students or right along with them or whatever, okay? All right, next you've got some other tools. Annotate. Now the Annotate tab is really useful. All right. Oh, you're sweet. Okay. The Annotate tab has a lot of really good functions. Kind of some of the stuff you guys were using in Kami, but you know, not as advanced for sure, but kind of a little bit down and dirty Kami sort of annotations, okay? So you've got the Annotations tab. First thing you can do is Spotlight. And what that'll do is create a little arrow with your name so you can tell people, look here, this is what I'm talking about. Complete all items or new announcement. These are the important things I want you to know. It's like circling it. You can also circle it. You can also stamp it. Maybe you just want to put a star, a heart, an arrow, a check mark. You can do that too. How about text? You can totally write right on the screen that they see, okay? I really want them to remember blah, blah. There it is. Type it on there. They'll see it the whole time they're also looking at this, okay? You can also draw. There's a drawing tab there. You can just circle stuff all day. You don't have to, quote, really draw. And you can even change the colors and how fat the line is and the fonts. Okay, and then lastly, before you go to your next slide or whatever, you do want to click clear all drawings or clear my drawings or viewers, because you may opt to have everyone draw on something. I'm not sure why, but maybe you want to have everyone mark up something. You can do that. Also notice to the right of that, save. It will save a screenshot of your work, especially if you do something really cool. Okay, next, under the More tab, still next to annotations, you can see it on to the right of it. You've got chat, record on this computer. A lot of these options you do see elsewhere in the program. They've kind of doubled up, tripled up in some place. So sometimes you may see a thing you've already dealt with in another location, okay? If it's working the way you want it to, then that's fine, keep it going that way, okay? Share screen menu, let's say you want to do a video and you all will want to do a video for sure. And think about video differently now. Video isn't where they just kind of tune out, right? And you don't know if they're watching anymore. You've got the screen 12 inches from their face. They're watching, okay? You can't help it. Remember that. Okay, so if you are showing video, let's show it in quality, okay? Notice I've got it highlighted to show something on my YouTube channel. And then what you want to make sure you do is you optimize screen sharing for video clip, which will automatically click share computer sound, which is already happening anyway. Okay, that will make your screen look a little bit better for everybody, sound-wise, etc., when you start your video. Okay, also on share screen options, if you click the tiny little button, what's that called? An up caret? Nice. All right, you can see one participant can share at a time, multiple participants can share simultaneously, and then also advanced sharing options. Here are those advanced sharing options. How many people, who can share. I've got it all set to only host, of course. Okay. All right, now there are a few other things that you can do with your sharing screen. And let's say you go to advanced, okay? It's not really advanced, they just should have said more options. It's not like highly technical. Portion of screen. So let's say you caught me in the middle of getting ready to order some dinner. I don't really need you to see my dinner, but I want you to see the little area that I have selected. because I really want you to get this done. At the same time, I'm trying to admire my hot pot meal, okay? So you see the little bit in green there. That's share a portion of the screen. That can be changed. That rectangle can be adjusted to include whatever you want on whatever part of your screen. So in other words, you could totally set yourself up to work on half your computer and the other half you can leave portion and just kind of show them back or leave something up that you want them to keep looking at, okay? All right. Music or computer sound only. This is something that I always had on at the beginning of class and often when they were doing independent work. In art, of course, there's a lot more of that maybe than in some of your classes, but the background music, you know, really kind of kept the atmosphere, the mood, if you will. And I know it's an online class, but I did get a lot of comments at the end of summer, people commenting on the atmosphere, the mood. So I'm like, how is that even happening? I'm in this room by myself, but it did happen. So music or computer sound only is definitely a good one. Don't worry about the word only. It doesn't mean that they're not going to hear your voice. You're part of computer sound. Okay. Another cool thing you can do, content from a second camera. That's what I was showing you earlier. If you do have a second camera, there you go. Now I've got a little still life set up. What's cool is when you go to second camera, I'll still see you. You're a tiny little picture now, but you're there and you can have them look at what you want them to. Maybe a close-up of something. Maybe you have a specimen you need them to see. For me, it was showing them art tools very up close, for example. Okay. Now, what else can you do in screen share? The third tab there is files. You can go to Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive, Dropbox, all this stuff. Now, if you've never done it before, it will try to connect your Google Drive to your Zoom account. You can do that, and then it'll look like this, and it's pretty direct. You don't have to do that, though. You can just open up in a new tab your Drive, find the file or folder you're looking for. Here's the file I want to share. You get your shareable link, and then you make sure it says anyone with the link can view. Control-C, copy-paste, and drop it into the chat. You can see on the bottom right, I dropped it into the chat. Hit enter, and now it is a live link. It can totally go directly to exactly what I'm talking about. This is a great solution. Let's say your video is not working. Let's say you really need them to see a document while you're doing something else. While you're talking, you can throw stuff in the chat. Students will get used to checking the chat. You should too. Again, I'm not checking it so much today because I'm running out of my breath trying to get through a bunch of info. Okay, let's see what else. So tab files again, or excuse me, again, those Google Drive files, you can get them yourself. The other way is in the chat, you may have noticed there is a tiny little button. There it is, it says file. You click on that, and you can get a file from all of those places again. That's for those of you who are like kind of suspicious about linking Google with your Drive and all of that and giving permission to you know, whoever, Elon Musk, I don't know, either way, okay? Nice, thank you guys. All right, so next, this is important, okay? I've seen this happen in my own daughter's classes. Not Mr. Ketterling's though, you're good. End meeting for all or leave meeting. This is important. If the meeting is over, you want to end the meeting for all. If you just leave the meeting, you have walked out of the room and the kids are still sitting there. They can talk. You want them to talk, then fine. But I like to end the meeting. I like to shut the door and turn off the lights. I'm done. That's that. So make sure you click end meeting for all, unless you're passing it off to somebody or whatever, either way, okay? Now, last few things. Profile picture, that might be something you care about. If you want them to see a cute little picture of you when you were 3 years old for Halloween, you can do that too, okay? Next, under settings, you got that profile, meetings, and settings. This is that main menu, remember, when you first log in and you haven't started your video or anything, okay? Meetings, in meeting, okay? Is important, right? Waiting room, all that stuff is all already selected for you. Requiring a passcode, all that is selected for you, okay? The next one, meeting options. Now notice it's highlighted on the left, in meeting, basic. Don't worry about advanced. This time advanced is lame and you don't need it. But in meeting basics, yes, check it, okay? You still have those same questions they keep asking you. Screen sharing, disabling, share, all of that. Remember, this is like a global thing. Even though the choice is available in 4 or 5 places, you check it once, you're good to go, okay? Good, meeting options. Next one, this is important maybe, nonverbal feedback. That's the one kind of right here in the middle-ish. You see, I do have that check. What does that allow you to do? It allows you to have these little pictures you can see, green check mark, red X, go slower, go faster, and I'm getting coffee, thumbs up, thumbs down. These are things that the students can use to quickly connect with you without typing in much. Again, these are called nonverbal feedback. And then you'll see this little bit of information appear just above or below your participant window. Okay? Breakout room. This has to be set before you start a meeting. Sorry, guys. And there it is, breakout room. You're going to click allow host to assign participants to breakout room. Click save. Now, because you've added it, you will see. Look at him looking down there. There's the breakout room button. Okay? It wasn't there before in this presentation, but now it is because I've enabled it. Okay? Now, next question. How many people in each room? You want to assign them automatically or manually? Does it matter what groups are? Or is it like specific group? The editors, the sports page people, whatever. Okay? Next, you can assign very specifically each individual room, and you can rename them so they know where they are. You can save these things. You can use them again and again. It gets weird if they log in from a different device and they have a different number. If you've already assigned them, it gets a little tricky. Most of us, we're going to be able to either pre-assign them. At some point, people are going to get pretty regular about what they're using to get online, or you're going to have them doing something just like we always do when we're making groups while you're making groups digitally instead of using flashcards. Okay? After you've selected all of that, you can, again, obliterate all of your choices, start over again, move them to different breakout rooms, all of that, okay? Now, last thing I want to just share with you, a few screenshots. If you have not taught a class, here's what your class might look like, okay? I think this is important to see if you haven't had a class. Notice, in this screen, I am juggling multiple things, and you will definitely do that too. Across the top, you can see Canvas is open, that weird Zoom launch meeting window that always starts is there, whatever. Outlook is there, and my AOL email tab is also there. Canvas is open to an assignment. You can see that is a digital copy of a handout that they would have. It's got some annotated text on it that I wrote with my mouse. It's got a smaller, you can make size of window, different sizes to fit your needs. So I just had it showing me 6 cameras at the time because I was talking a lot and I didn't need to see everybody. And then you'll always have that chat window open. Always have that. My son waited for a teacher for 25 minutes yesterday because she didn't have the chat room open or she didn't know that someone was waiting, man. That's a waste of everyone's time. So just make sure that you have your chat open. That's how they'll talk to you. And remember, they've been texting since they were born now, so they do that all the time. They're used to it, okay? Here's another screenshot. This one's to illustrate you probably don't want to have people sharing or showing you a lot of images through the camera on your computer. It's just not quality enough, theirs or yours, okay? As you can see, I can't see any details in that picture, and from my reaction face, you can see that's exactly how I'm feeling. So if you have this type of assignment where you need to really see it, I recommend you make 2 steps. First step in the assignment, send me a sketch or a rough draft. Second assignment, the actual project, okay? That's what I did a lot. They submit it, and make sure they can resubmit as often as necessary in Canvas assignments, unless it's a test or you don't want them to, whatever. But for me, I was able to give feedback, and then they would resubmit. Isn't that the whole point, right? It got better and better every single time, okay? So that screenshot kind of tells you maybe if you're thinking of visual, needing to see stuff, you might want to rely on photograph it and submit it. When they do submit assignments, they have a lot of different options: text, attached video, image. Of course, for my class, I use image every time, mostly. Now, when we were doing meditative drawing, I had my second camera focused on a candle so that if their home life or homeroom was too distracting, they could literally focus on the light of the candle and tune into that while we did our drawing. Again, you can see there's my chat. I've got the participant window, and I've got my Zoom window open showing me all the faces. Here's another one. This is what it may look like a lot. During summer, I did get used to looking at boxes with names. You know, we got to get over it. I know it's weird, and it bugged me for the first 4 weeks. I really felt like this is like if you were in a classroom and kids came in and put a refrigerator box over themselves and it just had their name on it, right? I know it's weird. Kids are kids. I don't even know if it's legally correct to force them to show the camera anyway, but the point is they're still going to do the assignments. You're still going to have a record of whether or not they're actually learning and listening to you. And are they really listening and holding on to every word? Do they ever? Let's not hold them to expectations that we wouldn't even in the real classroom, yeah? All right, next one. Here's an example from Google Drive. I'm showing an image. This is a worksheet. Actually, excuse me, it is a worksheet. I started doing it. I photographed it. I uploaded it to Drive. This is all happening during class, by the way. I uploaded it to Drive because kids are still like, I don't understand. How do we shade it? What's it going to look like? Fine. Get a bit, photograph, upload to my own Drive, access it, show it on Drive. So this is sharing screen of Drive. I've still got my participant list. I've still got my Zoom chat, and I still can see the students looking at what I've worked, what I'm showing them. Also notice that red text. That is an annotation. So that wasn't on the picture. How am I going to remind them? Type it, annotate, let it just sit there on screen. They will reference it, right? That thing, that whole question of what are we doing again? Where are we? You can alleviate that by putting it on screen or putting it in the chat. Here's an example of using annotations. We were drawing using basic forms, and I was trying to explain to them how you can make the animal from basic forms. And if you understand basic forms, you can draw anything you want. I could turn the hippo's head by using the same forms, just kind of tilting them a little bit, right? You can see the light, the lavender there. You can also see on the bottom left, on this particular day, I was using Windows Media Player to play the Black Panther soundtrack. And then I've got my group chat open up there, Next one. Again, this might be what you get used to if they don't force the kids to have their cameras on. It's not the end of the world. They're there. You'll find out when they turn in their assignments. And believe me, towards the end of the summer, at the end of the summer, when they left comments about the class for me, they told me about ambiance and stuff. Now keep in mind, these are kids who actually I really never even saw their face, but they connected with me. Why? It's the same thing as when you connect with a person on TV. It's weird, but we're the celebrities now. They're connecting with you, right? Brad Pitt doesn't know his fans, but we know him. What? We think we do because we've been looking at him. That's what's going to happen with you and your students, okay? So you might feel this weird, I'm not connecting because they're this big, but they're connecting with you, okay? Have a sense of humor throughout this whole thing. You got to. You got to have a sense of humor. You got to relax. I definitely want to encourage you to forget about normal housekeeping, discipline stuff that we used to care about, like put that away, look here, and all of that. They're stuck in a room pretty much all day getting butt sores while they're listening to you and all the other teachers, okay? So give them a break. If for some reason they stretch, whatever. If for some reason they got to go get a snack or go take care of baby brother who's crying, be flexible, especially this first year. Everyone's figuring it out just like we are. We don't have to act like we know all the answers this time. They know we don't. Okay, speaking of knowing all the answers, Canvas is $1 billion company, no doubt, at this point, but even they make big mistakes. Look at this, trainer tip. This came out every single time introduced a new trainer tip during the training I did with Mount SAC, making teacher and learning easier. Teacher easier? What? Exactly. It's a typo. All right. And lastly, I'm telling you now, if you haven't had a class, it's going to be fine. It's weird, but magically they're going to digitally show up in your room. The waiting room is going to be beep, 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 beep. You're going to let them in, and they're going to have a great time in your class if you have a great time. So don't stress yourself out. If you don't know how to use every single app that we've been talking about for the last 2 weeks, don't use them. You do that next year. This year, learn Canvas and Zoom if that's all you can do. It's no problem. We're going to be starting school next week. Don't overdo it, okay? I'm seeing already my children's teachers. They're overdoing it. They're trying to do stuff they don't know how to do yet. And you know how it is if you're trying to teach somebody something you don't understand. It doesn't work, okay? So get good at a few things. When you get confident with those, do some more stuff, okay? But don't feel like you have to use all the bells and whistles from day one. It's not going to happen, and that's okay, all right? And all of this matters. All of this depends on your internet, too. I do recommend every time I talk that people use a Cat7 cable and connect directly to your modem or router. The best way if you can. You know, some people were telling me yesterday or the other day that they don't have a Ethernet plug in your computer. That's pretty rough. Okay. Anyway, how to get around that is you got to pay Spectrum or some evil beast more money. Either way, good luck. I hope I didn't talk too fast. I hope you got something out of it. Really appreciate you listening. Thank you. You guys can send me any questions or any information or you want. Here's my mobile number.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Mr. Black. You are just a little bundle of joy, and thank you so much for having all the answers for Zoom. You've already taught me so much. I just thank you so much for everything you've done. If you can, please make me the host. Let's do that. And then also let's